Hello, we back home. We are a couple weeks until the Royal Rumble come the 26th, and currently I am so low on expectations that my enthusiasm died, changed his name, found a new home, so he can privately and nobody will ever know he found a noose in a chair, did his business silently. That's how bad it is to have expectations. Because whatever it is, NXT Superstar, SmackDown, and Raw Superstars will be attending the Royal Rumble this year. And I have very little care in the world for who's going to win the Royal Rumble. Because for the previous decade, we came from Edge being surprise winner of the Royal Rumble, doing nothing because he had a small feud with Chris Jericho, and did nothing with it other than win the World Heavyweight title that December. We had Alberto Del Rio win the next Royal Rumble. Lose an opening of WrestleMania 27, do nothing with it. Freaking we had freaking Sheamus win the next Royal Rumble, opens the show and wins in 18 seconds, then holds the World Heavyweight Championship for several months and nobody cares. We had 2013 Cena won it his second time. The next year Batista won it his second time. 2015 Roman Reigns, we finally had a young up-and-coming wrestler that could finally take the business. He's now injured, had leukemia, and won the world title a couple more times, and nobody remembered that he had a feud with AJ Styles. The next year, Randy Orton. The next year, Shinsuke Nakamura. No one cared. He's not even doing anything with the Intercontinental title, and nobody even remembers that the title just changed design. And I think people get angry at that time now because it looks like a metallic little fake custom belt you can find on community creations on 2K. We have 2019 Seth Rollins. That's literally remotely the most hated babyface of 2019 until they officially changed him heel and made him part of the Authors of Pain. And now we have Brock Lesnar. I think Paul Heyman came around calling everybody a bitch, calling two people bitches, and then showed Brock Lesnar announcing that he'll be becoming the number one participant in this year's Royal Rumble. That means he's maybe losing the WWE World title come a couple weeks from now, or something. Thanks. He's holding the World Championship. And there's another secondary world title. So I don't find the major threat here of just bumping him in. Just so there's star power at the Royal Rumble. Thanks to last time there was star power at the Royal Rumble was 2018 when Goldberg, Undertaker, and himself was in there. Braun Strowman. And guess what? Most of them were eliminated just for them to feud at WrestleMania. Why in the world would I waste my time with Brock Lesnar being the number one participant? He should have retired years ago. Now he's still holding the WWE title, barely showing himself on TV, making himself the main attraction, where he barely does such other than beat up old people. How is this supposed to be encouraging as a factor while he's beating guys half his size and calling himself the main attraction? Well, he should have been at least challenging Seth Rollins or somebody to redeem himself, since most of his pay-per-view matches, the only time he won was against Rey Mysterio and beating the shit out of his little fat kid back at Survivor Series, when he lost twice to Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship. That doesn't tick him off? Thanks for like a majority of these Royal Rumbles, Brock Lesnar defended his the world title, so makes no difference if he's in the Royal Rumble. Oh God. Then they have Paul Heyman essentially coming over to commentary, and it seems like King is a heel commentator because he said he made himself a believer. Second, we had a good match of an underbaked finish over Rey Mysterio accidentally being part of a Hurricane Rana and hitting Andrade over to Zelina Vega for a distraction accidentally, and Andrade utilized it by Hammerlock DDT for his first title defense and successfully retaining the United States Championship in one of the best matches on the show, and what a good match to start off the year. We had sunset, a bit of a retake to his sunset flip over to the turnbuckle. I mean, over to the barricade. He did it outside, but thanks Andrade had more space. He rolled out and did a running Meteora right on Mysterio. There was a lot of fast hits off the ropes, and I thought that was like the most highlighted move because it actually makes Mysterio and Andrade actually get used to most of their mistakes. Rey Mysterio did like a springboard into a DDT. The dude was killing it, but it couldn't be enough after the incident with Zelina Vega. And then Andrade ripped the mask out of Rey Mysterio just to collect some heat after the little incident blown off so we can still make him a heel. Then Rey Mysterio later in the show came back for the feud, and it's like, that's just something you guys could have done last year other than have 7 matches that people only remember 3 of them and don't make anything personal. Because Rey Mysterio came from having back and forth 50-50 booking matches with Andrade. I'm not saying that they weren't bad matches. I'm saying that they didn't do any work, didn't even make Andrade feel like a more major heel. Just make him feel like a pessimistic little anti-luchador, even though he does luchador maneuvers. And it doesn't go that personal. Even the time when Rey Mysterio had his own fucking son be part of a world title feud, a United States Championship feud with Samoa Joe, nothing happened really. And most of it was succumbed to by injury. And now we have somebody that he's completely used to, wrestles in his style, and a bit more personal thinks it's going over the history of luchadors. And it involves a manager. So hopefully this year they do something with it. I thought their match was great, but at least it should have been a number 1 contenders match instead of Andrade just kicking off the year defending it. And please, oh please, make Paul Heyman GM or something. Because I'm sick of and tired of Paul Heyman just coming here making promos and crap. Our second title defense of the afternoon was a triple threat tag team match involving the OC against the Street Profits against the Viking Raiders for the WWE Raw tag team titles. And I have to say this, I don't care. I really don't. Came off the Frog Splash, sleeper holds down the wazoo over commercial break. It didn't sell the factor that the OC are heelish factors. AJ Styles just walked out of the match. It was just Viking Raiders with the Street Profits with the OC just playing filler as an obstacle to get through pinfalls. Dawkins was just there. It felt like Gallows and Anderson were just doing a few. Even though Anderson held his own, it still came up with the Street Profits missing the pinfall. Anderson got hit with the Viking experience, and it came up with them retaining. No harm, no foul. I know they're just saving them for a title defense, maybe at the Royal Rumble, but no one really cares about the Viking Raiders. They're a good tag team. They're fun, but you should have still kept them as the War Raiders. There's nothing wrong with the name. There's really not. Them just screaming out that there is no challenge in the tag team division when there's literally at least 3 tag teams to face every freaking week. It doesn't sell the factor that the U.S. title is the WWE tag team titles are really on like high hunting grounds. Like you only have like 3 or 4 tag teams. There's nothing really to be a threat, and thanks they wrestle each other nearly every week. There's no other reason why. It kind of devalues the belts. And I talked about this over my rant video, that they really lack prestige. Even during the previous brand split, they lacked a tiny bit of the prestige, even though they went through at least legit tag teams like La Resistance or Dudley Boys. Sometimes RVD and whatever makeshift tag team he's in, the Hardys, and when Trevor Murdoch and Lance Cade. But you'll barely remember that. Thanks, most of them were hot potatoing the titles every freaking month. So kind of devalued the factor, at least their character-wise, because I don't know anything about the Street Profits other than their dumbass promos that they think they're incredibly characteristic because they shout current slang language and scream and Montez Ford wants to make sure his neck always twists and he's more electric than he think he is. and the Viking Raiders are just incredibly loud, neckbeard, weird, screaming fat people, and the OC are just guys that haven't been good since the early 2010s. There's really not much to be a fan here of this tag division. And after that, the Usos are back on SmackDown. There's no reason to even watch the Raw tag team division, thanks there's barely anything to watch. Other than there's one more athletic tag team partner than the other. They're all gonna scream something on promos, and they don't have a major pullout or control or anything to change the shift of the show, other than they just want the Raw tag team titles. There's nothing really in it. I'm being serious. There was also there was also promos around the night involving Samoa Joe bringing up a surprise tag team partner for a 6-man tag for the main event of Monday Night Raw that afternoon, involving the Seth Rollins in the Author's Pain, while Kevin Owens tagged with Samoa Joe, and a big surprise. And Jesus Christ, Asuka's promo was just fucking spamming as much Japanese as possible. Baka baka baka. This is what Becky Lynch would sacrifice getting a contract extension all because she wants this screaming random Jap with green face paint on her. Why? Someone tell me why. I don't mind Asuka. Becky Lynch is one of the better wrestlers you'll see on the show. But other than that, don't you think anybody gives a shit? I'm trying. I'm really fucking trying to understand. These guys had a good match at 2019's Royal Rumble. I just thought it was a bit too much wrestling. Not too much wrestling. It just took too much time, sucked in, especially because I think it was the opening match of the show. And over the time of the show, it just came with Asuka just spamming around Japanese like, this doesn't get a manager. Paige, when they turned heel, just turned their back and just beat her up. Asuka just got sucker punched after the promo with her flanting around the ring, and that was only for the SmackDown Women's title. Why now for the Royal Rumble? All because you want to redeem a win. Why not Ronda Rousey? The woman that people still think it was a fluke won the WWE Women's title. After it was a roll-up when her shoulder was accidentally up. Oh, Asuka, because she didn't pin her at the Royal Rumble. You never challenged her any other pay-per-view. Why now? Any questions? I thought not. Then we had Eric Rowan coming around for a one-on-one match against Jobber again. Just to show the fear factor of that he's a fat, big fuck with ginger beard. And Mojo Rawley came from that stupid half-face paint shit that went nowhere. And then he comes around running away from a crazy creature. And it's supposed to be, oh, what's in the cage? What's in the cage? We don't know what's in the cage. I don't give a fuck what's in the cage by now. Excuse me for cussing. I don't care. You know why? Because this is content meant for grown adults viewing this. And now, I waste my time noticing Eric Rowan just coming around and feuding with anybody that's more curious to know what's going on in the cage. Why is Ron focused primarily on this cage? And he's not talking to anybody in the locker room because he focused on the stupid pet that's in his cage. Let somebody interact with Rowan. Do something if you want to make him a singles big talent. That's just him. He even showed it to the jobber. Stuffed his face in it. He came out what looked like blood and he came around screaming. And I had to say that was the most funniest segment of all time because he never explained what the hell was still in the thing and how did that happen. That was the segment. I don't want to continue with that because that was corny. I didn't give a damn. AJ Styles had a match with Akira Tozawa where I did not care. Just to mock his continuing feud with Randy Orton. Even though you beat him at WrestleMania already. They're having this feud because Randy Orton, I think, anonymously screwed him over for a U.S. title rematch against, I think, Rey Mysterio. So now they're feuding again. And probably Randy will be ready come WrestleMania. Why AJ Styles isn't focusing on something bigger? I don't know. I know Randy Orton is still a household name, top star, bloody, bloody, blah. I get it. It's just Randy Orton gets himself in so many recycled feuds that it doesn't make sense. And Akira Tozawa coming from 205 Live just getting jobbed out. He got jobbed out against Drew McIntyre. And now he gets jobbed out by AJ Styles. I'm not even going back and forth about the match. It just happened. He hit an RKO on him. Who cares at this point? So they awkwardly just segmented the promo with Styles and Orton after the match, so it's underselling the fact that Tozawa's even on the roster. After he was chasing around during the Christmas episodes with R-Truth for the 24/7 title, with Santa Claus winning it as well and then losing it to R-Truth. No one cares. Other than to stick it into AJ Styles. To Randy Orton. Then we had Bobby Lashley finally getting married to Lana after an interruption of Liv Morgan and Rusev coming from the big ass cake for an over big segment that wasted everybody's freaking time. Oh God. I'm trying here. I'm trying. And then Liv Morgan came with the interesting quote that is something to live more for, something for me, it's something to live for. And it's like, get it? Get it? Because that's her name. Get it? Get it, guys? Do you want to freaking get it? No one cared about the segment. All it did was show that Bobby Lashley finally grew a pair and told Lana to shut up after trying to get his manhood back and try to beat the crap out of Rusev. This time it's going to be in a mixed tag team match involving Liv Morgan and Rusev against Lana and Bobby Lashley, even though how atrocious Lana is in the ring. They want to continue this feud for some reason because Lana's hot and they think she deserves screen time when she can barely do a promo. Screams out think it's all about her for 20 damn minutes. Just so she can continue off a freaking segment. We know Rusev is over. Why continue this feud? This lasted since October. It's now January of 2020. Don't you think it's time for this to stop? Oh God. Oh wow. So, it's not going to be a mixed tag match. It's just Liv Morgan's going to be in Rusev's corner. Then we had Sarah Logan face off against Charlotte Flair. And Sarah Logan, I didn't even remember, was part of the Riot Squad for like late 2018, and they did nothing with her because she was part of the Riot Squad, and they got shoveled by freaking Natalya back at TLC. So, she feuded, did a few muscly moves on Charlotte, and Charlotte wins another match. This time she beats Natalya. That time she beat Natalya last week. This time she beats Liv Morgan. What happens? Liv Morgan try to destroy Charlotte's robe, and stomped on it. So Charlotte just came with a spear to the barricade and then hit her with the finger four, and they came up with her winning. There was no reason. No one really cared about this match because it's just feeding up Charlotte's screen time when she already accomplished enough in the company. I don't really care. I really don't. I'm being honest because they're just not doing anything. They barely have women in the roster. It's just either Charlotte gonna feed up Becky gonna feed up screen time with the Kabuki Warriors, Liv Morgan doing nothing, Lana doing nothing except feuding with Rusev, and just jobbers around the world. You guys have a brand split and still you need jobbers? For local random jobbers that nobody's gonna remember the name of? Then No Way Jose comes in against Drew McIntyre and gets jobbed out again off a double Claymore kick. And let's do another Claymore kick. And then McIntyre said he'll announce himself in the Royal Rumble. It was an amazing segment. McIntyre literally saves Monday Night Raw. Literally off of his charisma alone. His pure on threatening demeanor. And the way he got into the conga line, I think it was a cookie or something. It was a great segment. And it was funny at least, and entertaining, and showed how threatening McIntyre was. Then Aleister Black versus Shelton Benjamin. This was a good match for a few seconds. It lasted up for a Black Master. It was an enziguri, a super kick. It was a back and forth until Aleister Black got back into the momentum and hit him with a Black Mask. That's not racist, and won the match. Didn't do much except Buddy Murphy came out of nowhere and attacked him, so they're still feuding. After what's supposed to be an exhibition match, and the reason they're feuding is I don't really know. Other than Buddy Murphy just won the shit name for himself. It feels like, oh, nice match, good. What else are these guys gonna do? They're gonna continue fighting. I know these guys are good wrestlers, but I don't think you guys know how to sell feuds. Like, what are they fighting for? A future shot for the US title? Maybe they should, like, do something with them other than let them continue to feud? Next up, AOP and Seth Rollins versus Samoa Joe, Kevin Owens, and well, it's big ass piece of shit. Next time on me trying to compose myself. Big Show tags with Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe for a surprise return appearance on Monday Night Raw after not being on TV for over 2 years. Shocker. And it was a fun back and forth off the shoulder tackle. Big Show towers over everybody, even AOP. So that was a good off the chops. It ended with a KO punch and ended off disqualification off a steel chair. Other than that, this gets a 3 out of 10. The only reasons why it gets 3 points was a good, wholesome, decent little match, a decent McIntyre squash match, the Big Show's return, and Paul Heyman cussing out a crowd. Everything was a waste. There was no reason for these matches to exist except they wanted to sell at least the opening of Raw of the next decade and the next year to end up at least with 2 title defenses. The Andrade Mysterio match was great. It had an undersold finish because of the incident, and they wanted to still continue this feud after we already had too many times them wrestling for the last 4 or 5 months, and then they continued over when they came to Raw. So this is going to continue, but this time at least is going to be for a belt. But it still doesn't sell the fact that it's not helping Andrade be over. Except we know that he's dating Charlotte. So that's at least something. I don't really care. I'm happy at least Andrade's finally United States champion, but they should have done this way earlier than giving Ricochet the belt, and now we don't even know what he's doing now. So, yeah. Surprised to see Big Show back. I'm gonna change it to a 4 out of 10 because I just now remembered why I liked a bit of the show. There will be a Dynamite review coming out soon. Hopefully, you guys liked me screaming on fake fighting. I'm gonna talk about the XFL and the Landry Jones situation later. And my thoughts on the XFL because I really didn't go into it, but anything's possible. Thank you for watching the DST show. Join the DST Nation. Subscribe down below, and hopefully you'll watch some more. Try to get some videos that show up. Thanks for watching.